Okay, one more thing before we move on to the leg. If you open the channel box here, or even the attribute editor, we haven't talked much about the attribute editor, but it shows you attributes of the object here. You will see a bunch of tabs here. Also on the channel box on the top right, you will see inputs. It has pretty much everything we've done to this cube. It's remembering everything. So you can see what edges I've cut. You can see when I extruded a face, when I tweaked some stuff, and even when I created the cube. So you can go through all this history. That makes your computer a little slower having to remember all this. You might notice Maya kind of slowing down or bugging down. You don't need to keep all this history. You can go to edit, delete all by type, and say delete history. Or somebody's put the shortcut up here. So you have to just have selected the object and be on object mode. And then here's the shortcut up here. You can just say delete my history, please. So I don't have all this stuff on my inputs here. So I'm gonna click on it. You'll see all that input is gone. All that history is gone. And you can still undo. If you hit Control Z, you can still undo. It won't forget what you've done completely. But it's not keeping it in here. It's not keeping every single detail of what you've done. So it doesn't slow down your computer so much. So I'm gonna do some housekeeping here and delete the history. Sometimes it's a good idea to name your cubes and your shapes, because you may have cube 952 and you're looking for cube 33. That's not a good idea to do things. So we're gonna rename this cube, and you can just click on it, and you can see what cube it is because it's selected here. I'm gonna call it torso. So now I know where the torso is. You can rename it here, in here also on the channel box. So I'm gonna select the cylinder here, and I can select it from the outliner. You can rename it here, or you can rename it on the channel box. You can say, I want this to be called head. There it is. Okay, so it's a good idea to name stuff so you don't have, so many shapes there, or you don't know what is what. This fills up pretty fast. So we're gonna move on to the leg now after we cleaned up our scene a little bit. If you look at the leg from the front, it looks pretty much like a box, and from the side it's a little bit more complex. So it looks like a cylinder and then like two boxes. And you could put together those shapes like you could put, I guess, create a box here, and oops, and create another box to make the leg here. It would be easy, right? You could do that, and that is okay, except when your object is the hero and it's gonna be distorting. So I could put cylinder on top of here and say, oh, that leg is good, and that's okay for objects that are not your hero object, or that the camera is not gonna get close to it. So I'm gonna teach you the right way to do things first, and then you can think about these things and say, oh, this object is just gonna be on the background. Nobody's gonna look close at it. Nobody's gonna smooth it out. It can just be made out of polygon primitives. But I am gonna consider this Lego here your hero object. So I'm teaching the right way to do it, so you know how to do it before the cheat. It's always good to learn the right way before the cheat, because if you need to do it the right way and you only learn the cheat, you will not know how to do it. So we're gonna make the leg, and we're gonna create a cylinder here, and this is gonna be this top part of the leg. So if you look at it from the side, it looks like a cylinder, but again, I don't want to deal with this many points. So I'm going to, on the channel box here, if you don't have it open, remember it's the little stack of layers here. I'm gonna click under inputs, and again, subdivision axis is how many sides it has. So I'm gonna make that be 8, and then on the caps again, I want 0 subdivisions. Actually, we use this cylinder quite a bit on this project, so we could make a copy of this cylinder. So I'm gonna click out of that. So I'm gonna make a copy of this cylinder and put it on the back somewhere where it's not on the way. So I'm gonna duplicate it. You can do Control D to duplicate it. I have another cylinder like that. Or you can also grab Shift with the move tool and move a copy out or a clone out. So I'm just gonna put this on the back here where it's not on my way when I'm modeling, and I'm gonna keep it because I keep using the same settings, eight sides, no triangles on the top and bottom. So I'm gonna grab this, and this is gonna be the side view of my leg. So I'm gonna rotate it. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. So if I hit E here to rotate it and start putting it on its side, if I look on this channel box, I can see which axis is changing, and I can do 90 degrees. I'm going to look at the orthographic views here and match my cylinder up. So first I'm going to scale it down so it's not so huge, and I'm going to move it here kind of towards where the leg is, right here. So remember, when you scale the cylinder, if you're scaling the circle, you want to move it, you want to scale it on the plane with two axes at the same time. So I'm going to scale the circle here, maybe move it into position, and scale again. That's fairly close right there. Now I just need to match the front. So that's why we have the front and side views here, so we can match them pretty close. So I'm just matching the width. I have the circle match here, and we're good. Okay, so now if we look at this shape here, again, you could just put a cube on the bottom, but that would not be right if it's your hero object. You know, you're gonna look at it close, and you want to see this type of sharp corners smooth it out a little bit. So we want to see the same transition here from the leg to the cylinder, and you would not see that if you just place two objects together. So if I just place another object here, you know, to fake the leg, let's say I make it about the same size. You know, about right there. If I get close, obviously the first problem is I have these super sharp edges that don't happen in nature or on plastic toys for that matter. And if I hit 3, you know, I would have a problem with, you know, the hard edges here with the smooth edges. So that's why we're going to model it the right way. So let me just delete this shape. What we need to do is have this shape be a single object. So we're going to grab these faces on the bottom of the leg, this one, and this one. And if you're wondering how do I know which faces I'm picking, it's because I've done it many times. Now besides that, is because you can look in here on the front and side view, and when you mouse over one of the faces, so let me just deselect these faces. When you mouse over the faces, I can see them highlighted in red here. I haven't selected it, but it's highlighted red. So I can see on the side view that same face is getting highlighted here. So if I mouse over there, I see, oh yeah, I need that face. If I mouse that over back here a little bit, I can see, oh, I need that face to extrude. And I probably also need the face behind it to extrude the leg down. So you have to look at all 4 views. I know it's kind of confusing at first, but you'll get used to it eventually. So I'm going to select these 3 faces, and I'm going to extrude them down. I'm going to hit Control E. Now if I try to pull them out with the extrude tool, you'll see this thing happening. You're probably wondering, what the heck, why is it doing that? That is because it's trying to preserve the shape of the cylinder. It thinks you want to preserve that shape, but we don't want to, so I'm going to undo that. And instead of using the move from the extrude tool, I'm going to hit the regular move tool, which is lined up to the world. So I'm going to hit W, or you can click on it in here. And I'm going to move those faces that I just extruded with the regular move tool. So I'm going to pull them down, and you'll see it's kind of matching the leg here. So I'm pulling them down. The problem is this is still curved, but that's easy to fix if you hit scale, or then over here, or hit R to get scale. You can extrude, not extrude, you can scale those faces flat with the up and down axis. You just drag it down until you can't drag anymore, that it won't let you drag anymore, and you know those faces are flat now. So now if I look at my side view here, yeah, I matched the length of the leg till before the foot, about right there. And maybe my front face is a little bit too far forward. I think my whole leg is a little too big, but that's okay, because when you hit 3, it kind of tends to shrink a little bit. You know, the leg will shrink. So we're gonna leave it like that. Now I have those faces still selected. I could extrude the rest of the leg. You know, instead of pulling it all the way down, I could extrude it so I get a face on the front that I can extrude as the foot. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to extrude those 3 faces, push them down, kind of match the bottom of the leg here. I can see it also on the front view. I'm matching the bottom of the leg. And now I have this face here that I can extrude as the foot. So I'm going to hit Control E and pull out the foot. Now there's my foot. So we have about 80% of the leg there. So I'm going to hit Q to get rid of the extrude. The only problem now is that I have no holding edges. So if I hit 3, you know, I have the leg is a blob now. So I need to put some holding edges in here. So again, with the knife and holding Control, remember, if you mouse over an edge that's going up and down, it's going to go perpendicular to that. If you go over and mouse over an edge that's horizontal, it's going to put the loop perpendicular to that horizontal edge. So I'm going to put a couple holding edges here at the edge of the leg, one there and one over here. And actually, let me undo that. Let me first put the center. I'm going to need eventually a loop on the center of the leg. And I want to be right on the center of the leg. So how do I do that? If you just hold Control, mouse over this edge that's going horizontal, and middle mouse click, so push on your mouse wheel, no matter where you are on the face here, Maya is going to put the cut right on the center of that face. So I'm going to hold Control and middle mouse click here. You'll see it puts the loop and the center between the edge here and the edge there. So I do want that one edge on the center here. So I'm going to leave it there. And now I'm going to put my holding edges here close to the corner here. And again, you could be doing this by hitting 2 on this view. You know, you could do it on seeing the cage and the smooth version. So it looks like we need one. The foot is kind of too soft, so I'm gonna put a holding edge here. And if this is kind of hard to see for you, just go back to 1, hitting 1 on your keyboard, putting the loop here, then checking it by hitting 3. You know, yeah, that's a little sharper of a turn there. I need 1 on the front of the foot also. So right there, it's looking better. Looks like the back of the foot is getting too soft, so I'm gonna put another holding edge here on the bottom. And I think I'm missing, my circle is kind of disappearing here when I hit 3. It's kind of too smooth here. So I'm gonna put another holding edge right before it, right here. Right there, and hit 3. Yeah, that's back. See, there's that sharp turn. So this would look like the actual piece of plastic. So that's the advantage of doing it like this. You have a single object that has that smooth transition from one shape to the other, instead of shapes that are blocked together. But again, you don't model 100% of the time like this. You only do it this way for your hero objects. If this was a Lego that's going to be on the background and nobody's going to look close at it, that would be completely okay to put it together with separate shapes. But for this assignment, I want you to do it this way, so you know how to do it. I think I need another holding edge here. I'm going to put it right there. So yeah, I think we'll call this good. So I'm going to select all the edges, the holding edges I put in here, so you can add them yourself to your model. So it was this one, 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 and this one. Let's see. Yeah, so these are all the holding edges I added to my leg. So if I hit 4, well, let's see, how is it clear? Let me hit 5 to get back the wireframe, I mean the solid face. Yeah, so no, I think this is the clearest view. So these are all the edges I added. So if you need to pause the video, look at this, either on 1 or 3. You know, these are all the holding edges I added to my leg, so it will look okay. So after pausing and copying all those loops, I'm going to add the circles to the back of the leg here. So if you look at a Lego minifig close, you'll see there is 2 holes on the back of it, and one of them follows this curve here, which is kind of a hard thing to get done here. So there's 2 ways to approach this. So let me hit 1. One way would be to Boolean those holes out. So what is Boolean? Boolean is it lets you either join 2 objects together or cut one object out of another one. And I'm going to show you here. This is the cylinder we saved earlier. So I'm going to use this cylinder. I'm going to hit W to get the move tool and hold shift when I move it, so I get a clone of it. And I'm going to, and you don't have to do this part, I'm just going to show you how it works so you know it's there, because you might need to use it eventually, but I'm going to show you why I don't use it. So I know Maya's working on improving this, but so far I haven't seen it work that great yet. So I'm just going to show you how it would work. So I'm going to put this shape in here like this. You don't have to do this, remember, I'm just showing you. I'm going to make it a little smaller, or thinner I should say, about right there. So let's say I just wanted to quickly get that cylinder, that hole there, done in there. So I could select my leg, and the order you select things matters. So usually you select the object you want to keep, and second you select the object you want to cut off or get rid of. So if you go to mesh in here, you see booleans. So you could unite the shapes, keep the intersection, or get the difference. In this case I want the difference, so I'm gonna click difference. You know, oh, it looks like I am done. I made my holder and it's perfect, right? Again, if you wanted to see what the other operations would do, you have this little menu that shows up. You can say, oh, I want to see the intersection instead, or union, you know, but that's not what I want. I want the difference, so I'm gonna click on difference, and it looks like it's perfect and like I'm done with that hole, right? But the problem is if I hit 3 to smooth it out, oh, what happened? So I would have to get into cleaning up all this so it looks better. So I'm going to do it a little bit different here. I'm going to undo all this, so, and I'm just going to delete this shape we're going to do this cylinder, these holes, a different way. So that will be our next video. So let me pause this.